Good morning, councillors, directors, managers, viewers on the virtual platform. Today is 31st October 2023. We will be conducting an ordinary council meeting. Before a moment, please make sure that we are signing the attendance register. I think the attendance register is moving around. Let us then open this morning's procedure with a silent prayer and reflection, starting now. Amen. Attendance register is circulating. We move on the order of business. Point 3. Point 3 deals with the application for leave of absence. Council, please take note. I did receive leave of absence from Councillor Nell. Councillor Nell is dealing with personal matters today. It is unforeseen. So therefore, let us respect and think of Councillor Nell. Thank you. That's the only leave of absence I've received. We will continue to point 4. The declaration of interest. Take it as none. Continue to point 5. Point 5 deals with the confirmation of minutes for previous meetings. Councillors, we on the minutes of the special council on data 25th August. Do we have any faults or issues with the minutes that is reflecting? Councillor Tabai.
Speaker, I'm going to send you to the rules of order. Zooming straight to the business to be transacted, that is the meetings and agendas. I want to raise this issue. We are bombarded by what you call an addendum. And even we received an addendum at 2 minutes, just 2 minutes before we come here. I don't know whether it's the way you are doing things, because the rules of order are saying at least it must be 5 days, the whole agenda be circulated to us. And you are a sole custodian of an agenda. Do you have knowledge about these addendums that are popping out while we are ready to come to the meeting?
Thank you, Councillor. Yes, it is something that I've taken up with both the MM and the Director Acting. But this week, on this one, I take full responsibility because it was a bit of a scramble this week. Overall, we are trying as far as we can not to do it. And I've addressed it many times, but there was a bit of delays on certain items. That's why we're pushing this one that was arriving. So if you will accept it, I am saying that we were just waiting for some confirmation of news And then that's why for this week. But
Another concern, Speaker. We are surprised by items in our agendas. Again, I don't know whether we are just doing these portfolio committee meetings just for us to know that they are portfolio committee, because there are items that don't go through portfolio committee meetings and you find them in the agenda. Is it the way you do things? Or I need explanation. I think I don't know anymore what is the role of a portfolio committee meeting with its head, whatever, members.
I will give to the MM now, but just before he goes, I think we have learned lessons over the past week ago. We did not do business as professional as sometimes we are trying. And taking from the Thursday session, I can assure you going forward, your questions raised there or concerns is in a way that we have addressed. We were not addressed because one of the things that we've discussed during the strategic sessions on Thursday is also we have way in advance meetings and discuss these issues you have raised, Councillor. It's a pity that it has come up now after the session, but these matters is on our tables for addressing. Not to be perfect in such a way, but to be addressed and that you can rest assured that we are dealing our business in the best professional way as possible. That's all I can say for now. But I will let
First, give you speak. I don't want to make a dialogue with you. I'm addressing you because you are the sole custodian of an agenda. You see, whatever items comes late, you are supposed to reject them. You see, you are supposed to be in consultation with all these portfolio committee meetings and know what items were discussed in those portfolio committee meetings. You see, you can't as a speaker and come here and act as if, because it's you who must say, no, this is not acceptable. Because we understand these items also come from officials. You see, are you well vested with the way they are working as a speaker? Because what is happening now, we are bringing items early in the morning. 2 minutes before we come to council, there is an addendum. Did you know about that? So I'm saying you are a custodian of the agenda and council. You must take charge. That is why I'm addressing you. You see, you can't tell me about a strategic meeting and so on. It's your call.
Amen. Then we can go.
No, Speaker, I just wanted to respond, but you know, I always respond with facts in front of me. Just to basically clarify the process. So the process, as you are aware, for the benefit of everyone, a prelim meeting of the director sits and discuss the agenda, and from there that agenda is discussed with the office of the speaker, and that agenda is what is contained in the items. What do you call it? Items.
Portfolio of index.
It's contained there. So that is discussed with the speaker. Those are the items that must go. If I look at that portfolio of index, it's everything that was discussed. The item that delayed in terms of being late is the acting director corporate services, because we are waiting for the final legal opinion to attach that. If I'm wrong, right? Did you say it's like that?
Yesterday afternoon to work.
Yesterday afternoon, that is the item. So I don't know of any addendum that is given today. That item was circulated yesterday after the legal opinion was received. Now, in a perfect world, yes, the items as listed there when the speaker issues the agenda is what is going to be contained in the agenda. Now, yesterday I received a communication from the National Minister of COGTA approving the waiver of the directors. There's no special council meeting arranged yet, because we're not gonna have we're having a council meeting in November that was in the calendar.
No.
So we don't have, in terms of your approved calendar, you don't have a council meeting. So there's gonna be a consideration by the speaker as to whether we will have a special. Now, what do? I'm sitting after work, 11 o'clock, phoning Melanie, phoning Crowds, making sure with Felix. I have to prepare an item, which I could only give to Venus, because I could not phone Venus at 11 o'clock. I can phone Felix and Melanie and everyone.
Which you also phoned me.
I phoned you as
two
well.
times.
Past 10.
Yeah, good times.
I could only prepare that item because the letter from the minister was sent, but we became aware of the letter only yesterday afternoon. So that is the only item that you still have to receive, in committee item that you still have to receive. I'm not aware of any addenda. So based on the order of business, councillors were informed in terms of what are the items that are going to be discussed. The issue of a director corporate services, we have to wait for a legal opinion in order to submit that item, because we have to be correct in terms of how we approach that item. So, as far as I'm concerned, the matter has improved from the beginning when I started on addendum. So, but if not, I'll check with the team Tanya, and then we can see where we go. If councillors feel that you know, we still did lastly. This communication by the Minister of COGTA changes item, the second one. That communication now changes item C1, 169, 10, 23, which I was communicating to the speaker at 10, because that item is no longer necessary. And then item C1, 171, 10, but the speaker is going to deal with that. Change now because it's no longer the acting of the CFO, but the CFO has accepted the position. So that is what the speaker, when going through the portfolio, will then explain to the councillors. But if any councillor who received that item on cooperative is late, guys, we were waiting for the legal opinion in order to finance that item. Thanks, please.
We're gonna move.
Yes, Speaker. Lastly,
Also,
So
the question that was asked about the items that, if you allow, there was a question about what items comes to which do not come to the portfolio committee. There is specific items that are meant for council decision. There's items that are meant for portfolio committees, and they go from portfolio committees to MACO and stop there. Some of them will go to portfolio committees and stop because they don't need a council decision, those items. Then the specific items which requires that the council must actually, those items are mainly the items that are contained in the portfolio of index in the office of the MM. Those items, they don't go to portfolio committees. It's council that must decide on the recruitment and selection process for the director. It's council that must decide on the position of the appointment of an acting director. So those items cannot go to portfolio committee because portfolio committee does not have delegation to resolve on those matters, even does not have delegation to make recommendations on those matters. So those are specific matters that must go straight to council without going to portfolio committees. Thanks.
thank you, Amen. Councillor Kapai, then we're gonna move.
No, Speaker. What I was going to say is that in a perfect world, as the sole custodian of council and agendas, if there are any late item, before even opening the meeting, you explain to us, councillor. We don't have to raise this from the floor. It's your responsibility to raise the items that were late, why they were late, so that we can be clear. You see? To us, no, don't do that. You must call her to order. I'm speaking, he's speaking. You must call her to order. Carry on. Then whether I will chief whip of who.
let us continue. We are on the order of business. The minutes, is there a true reflection of the minutes? Councillor Wolfie,
Speaker.
Councillor Mhlana,
Speaker, I don't know whether we're changing from the norm now. Because the administration will take us through the minutes. Not the way you are doing it. So can we be taken through the minutes and
get we have read the minutes. I understand you. Anya, can we?
The next special council meeting on 25 August 2023, starting on page 6, 7, page 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 10 minutes it registers 14, 15, and 16. That concludes the minutes, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Ms. Alderman. Is there a true reflection continue? Councillor Wolfie? Councillor Wolfie, Councillor Kamkam?
Second speaker.
That's the set of minutes. We are on point 6, the statement and communications by the executive mayor or the speaker. Executive mayor, any communications?
Yes, thank you, Speaker. Just pleasing to see that some of our new vehicles and new fleet vehicles have started arriving. We've already received 2 for our electricity department. Another 2 have arrived for law enforcement. So at least we've got better looking and better operational vehicles for law enforcement. We've received the new front-end loader. The deputy mayor, the speaker, and myself recently visited the supplier of the compactor vehicles for our waste department to see what progress is on those 3 vehicles that we've ordered. These are vehicles that are most urgently needed. And for the first one, will hopefully be delivered today. We're expecting one of our compactor vehicles to arrive today, and the second one sometime in November. Waste department still struggling with the existing vehicles and the serviceability. So I'm sure they will welcome these new compactor vehicles when they arrive. I also want to thank the Bitou public for the patience with our refuse collection. It's been challenging to get everything collected, especially every day, and it's been necessary at some times to collect refuse at night just to finish the day's collection. At least they're managing to collect the refuse, and even if the collection is late on some days. And Speaker, I'd be remiss if I did not speak of our national rugby team, the Springboks. They've brought us all anxious and stressful moments over the past weeks. Their dedication to each other and to the end goal of bringing the Webwellers World Cup back to South Africa speaks of the team's humility and belief that they needed to do this for the people of South Africa and to give us hope and to show that we're indeed stronger together. They've also made us all proud to be South Africans and have rewritten the record books. Bitou arranged for 6 viewing centres so that as many of our residents could share in the joy of the World Cup final. These arrangements often take a lot of organisation and effort behind the scenes that people don't see, and that's often not recognised. So I want to thank my office manager and our sports manager for the time that they put in after hours to make sure that all the viewing centres were ready, so that people could see what was happening, to watch the final and enjoy seeing history being made. And then thanks also to the Bitou municipality staff for the cheers on Friday to show the support of the Springbok team. And it seems like there's a lot of fun that everyone had as well. But Speaker, South Africa's involvement on the stage is not over. Our one-day cricket team's also rewriting the records at the moment, and they're on their way to the Cricket World Cup final. They're making good progress there. So let's also support them in their aim of winning their first World Cup. Banyana also showing good form. Their quest to qualify for the Olympics and won their recent game. The South Africans are certainly putting our name out there, Speaker. One name I also need to mention, and someone who's passionate about his country, is one of the top internationally in his field, but it's probably not a general household name. And this past weekend, he became South Africa's most successful premier class motorbike racer. And this is a gent by the name of Brad Binder, currently races in MotoGP. That's a top class in motorbike racing. So if you think the Springboks can give you heart-stopping moments, you need to watch this man give it all for his country at speeds of over 200 kilometers an hour. But what's impressive about him, and you may wonder why I'm mentioning a single person as opposed to the teamwork of the Springboks and of Banyana and of the cricket team, is whenever someone interviews him, especially after a race, he's always quick to compliment the team that he has behind him. Because although he is a single bike racer out on the track, he realizes that without the team and the work of the team, he wouldn't be where he is. And he's always willing to acknowledge that. The Speak Out sportsmen and sportswomen are showing us how to believe in ourselves and also the collective. And that's true to the Springbok theme as a nation. Despite our many diverse challenges, as a country, we're stronger together. And in Bitou, we are the best together. In Bitou, we need to continue to work together as a society for the benefit of all our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Anlaba.
Thank you, Speaker, and good morning to everyone. I'm on just a point of information. I believe that we had received, as per the opening statement, we had received our trucks just 2 weeks ago. I saw you guys taking pictures of that, right? Just for confirmation's sake. Is there a reason why our refuse is still being collected after 9, if that be the case? Because I had hoped that after we'd received such, we'd actually see a great difference in waste removal. Over and above that, I just need to confirm again, is that a phone recording the session right in front of the executive mayor? I'm confirming. What is it?
Wait, first I will allow and then
Answer.
Councillor Mhlala.
You allow me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, Speaker, I just wanted to remind the executive mayor, maybe he has forgotten to mention that
Why?
he has received his car and other 2 of his bearers also received their cars.
Councillor, you cannot detect for the mayor to raise that. It's a speech. So respond, Mayor, then we're gonna.
Okay, just for information, the journalist from the Plet Herald asked if he could put this here to record my opening comments.
In that fashion, then, Speaker, it would be a proper manner that when a somebody decides to actually record the session, it is announced that they are recording the session. Because the only mandate I had signed to be recorded is when I'm in these chambers, actually deliberating on meaningful conversations, then we may be on record. However, whoever else brings their own devices to record, by law, it's supposed to be announced.
Think, Mayor, respond.
We are being recorded anyway and it is available to the public, but I'll take the point there and I'll take note of that. Just to respond to with regards to the vehicles, you'll note in my comment I did say we're expecting our first compactor truck today and the other one sometime in November. So we haven't received it yet. And in the notice that the municipality did put out a couple of weeks ago, we also did mention that we're expecting the first one in October, with the second one sometime in November and also the Wycliffe truck in November. So we haven't received them yet.
Thanks, Mayor. So, nothing from my side, just to congratulate the national team on their achievements. I don't want to go too deep into that one because we are all supporting different, but the national team is well deserved for the success.
But we know you are all blacks. We know you. You should have just kept quiet.
That's how we show your frustration. I did not know you were all black, really.
As a matter of fact, you are not enjoying that.
I'm also all black.
All I'm saying is on the 15th, you come to work that public holiday is not yours.
Guys, I know you are an official opposition, but.
They are not patriotic.
Please, will you see what changes? With this things coming forward now, all of you guys is now showing what makes sense. I know Councillor Mitchell is a heart in and blood out. Let us continue. We have dealt with all statements and communications. We will move to point 7. Point 7 is the presentations. I take it we have a presentation on the revenue enhancement program.
They online, amen. Clyde Writers from PwC will be presenting.
Good morning, Clyde. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Am I audible?
You are audible. Thank you. Please continue with your presentation.
Perfect. I just would like to share my screen. Is it possible that I can share my screen just to putting up the presentation?
Yes. Share.
Perfect. I am sharing. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Thank you so much. And thank you. Good morning, everyone, distinguished officials and also all councillors. Thank you for the opportunity to present on the revenue enhancement program. The presentation will...
Sorry, Clyde. Sorry. I take it that we are going to make notes. All councillors, are we taking notes? I know you won't take notes. I know you will. Thank you. Continue, Clyde.
Thank you so much. The presentation will focus on the door-to-door survey presentation, but I will provide some high-level context as it pertains to the SEM 2023-72 FIN Revenue Enhancement Program. So just a short agenda which just covers really the main points of the presentation. We'll cover just high-level points around the executive overview. We'll then also run through some interim findings that is contained in the as-is report of the revenue enhancement program, and covering then the main elements, which is the door-to-door survey, and highlighting some key next steps. But just really quickly, so to set some context, the revenue enhancement program has started, and it is a program that runs from June 2023 to June 2025. And the program does entail various initiatives covering various revenue enhancement strategy initiatives, particularly looking at completeness and accuracy of data, and ensuring that all properties are correctly billed, and that these in accordance with the policies, rights, zoning, and obviously as well as consumer categorization as well. But in terms of just setting the context for the presentation itself, considering the various elements that will be conducted under the scope of work, just would like to draw your attention to the second bullet point, which just highlights that the program includes a data cleansing exercise to identify revenue that is due to the municipality, and that it is in fact so. And as part of this exercise, we'll be conducting visits to all properties within Bitou municipal area to verify category and comparing the dominant use of the particular property, as well as that the property is zoned correctly. And as we go through today's presentation, we will also highlight some of those focus areas that will be covered as part of the data collection exercise as well. But moving into point 2, which is just the interim finding examples to draw some parallels to why the exercise will be such a valuable exercise, is within the as-is report, we provided some observations of the analysis performed where various data anomalies were picked up, some being in the classification of inaccuracy or either incomplete, that can and is a leading contributor to revenue losses that is within the billing system. But just to really set the tone of some of these anomalies we've picked up, is One is that we have improved properties that were categorized as vacant, i.e. having availability services, but actually having an improvements on the property. So we started noticing that. But number two is where there's accommodation establishments that are inaccurately categorized, leading to leading to the high level observation that it could potentially be multi-purpose, or it could ultimately be residential improved. Three, which and four, which talks to somewhat similar elements, but commercial or multiple use properties that is either in the residential classification or agricultural classification. And then number five is the various service billing anomalies. For example, not having 100% complete, not having all main services being billed to a particular property, and also maybe not having the correct amount of services added to a particular property. So those are just high level, but as we zoom into some of these classifications, on screen, I'm now sharing just an example of our exercise performed, where we've identified improved properties that were categorized as vacant, and using the GIS system of the municipality, but also looking at the supporting information such as occupational certificates that were issued. We still note that these were classified within the general valuation role, as an example, as vacant. So hence really emphasizing the importance of revalidating the accuracy, completeness of the information that is being billed subsequently on a property. Another example you'll see, so they just to really show that there is quite a few examples that we have picked up. And just to show, these are in the Plettenberg region, but we found a few within the particular suburb that were classified as that have improvements, but classified as vacant. Moving to point two, where we would have highlighted some of those accommodation establishment categorized as vacant. We've actually seen that, for example, the Sky Villa Boutique Hotel, which covers quite a sizable amount of area, being classified as residential, or being a residential accommodation establishment, meaning a commercial use. So therefore, again, needing to validate some of the information just to ensure accuracy as well. Again, just to emphasize the exercise, a few more examples were highlighted based on the same classification. But in this particular regard, looking at the Sky Villa Annex, which is the guest house, being classified as residential vacant. So again, emphasizing the importance of the exercise again in this example. Just really glossing over the next few, but we will highlight here, for example, business or multiple use categories that were identified, that are marked on the valuation roll as residential. But the exercise also proving that there is significant and really useful information to suggest otherwise. Hence, also the door-to-door survey really leading to be quite a significant exercise to confirm and validate. So really just quickly touching on some of the, given that we've highlighted some of the dominant use components of the exercise, if we look at the service review, ensuring that all the services have their support services alongside rates such as refuse, water, sewage services. We've highlighted that if we looked at the Plettenberg Bay Mall, that there were quite a significant amount of stores and tenants. But if we look at the supporting services under refuse, the application of refuse tariffs are not consistent. Meaning that the properties is currently being levied with one commercial tariff for refuse bin removal service once a week, where if we just on initially driving past as an example, highlighting that there's quite a few bins, and obviously it's a huge amount of effort that goes alongside that. So ensuring just accuracy in terms of the information also being correctly identified in the billing system. Another example of this is water, where provision is made in terms of 5.1.1.2 subsection II of the council approved tariff schedule, where water basic charges in respects of each shop, office, or accommodation establishment needs to be levied, which was not the case. Where if we look at what we found is that the property is currently being levied with only 2 commercial water basic tariffs. So really showing again the importance of really ensuring that also the services that support the particular dominant use, but also the property is consistent with the approved tariff schedule as well. And just to complete, we've also identified anomalies in terms of the desktop review with sewerage charges as well, where the approved charges should be for a sewer basic charge in respect of a general residential, or shop, a house, hotels, offices, including the accommodation establishments, but finding that only 1 commercial sewerage basic tariff charge was being levied for Plettenberg Bay. So I think what this really just emphasizes is that within the exercise, having some complete, valid and verified information will become so crucial to ensuring that what is being billed is consistent and is also a true reflection of the efforts that goes in to each service that is being charged. And again, just a further information to just demonstrate the exercise and showing where there have been inconsistencies in terms of what is being seen on the ground and what is taking place in the billing system. Not all the time seeing the correct bins being charged in terms of the billing system based on what we see on the ground. And then also seeing the amount of effort going into actually every single time, even though there's one being charged 1 bin, there being 5 or 6 bins being collected at multiple times a week, where it's being charged only once a week. So I think the point is really that this exercise will start to prove really useful to ensuring that we have a single source of truth in terms of the answers, what is being seen, and bringing that back and ensuring accuracy in terms of what customers and citizens are being charged in terms of, and businesses are being charged. I'll run really then quickly into point 3, which will then cover some of the main points to the door-to-door survey. And just some context as well. So as part of the door-to-door survey, we'll have data loggers or field workers that will be in, which will be using survey 123, which is a data logging solution to better assist us in capturing some of the important information that is required for us to verify and validate the billing charges at month end as well. So as part of the field work, we will be coordinating with the revenue, the finance team to assist us in terms of getting this off the ground, but we are making great strides in terms of that. And as part of this exercise, you'll see just at the bottom of the slides some of those classifications of information, which I'll just highlight and work through just real quickly. If we look at some only information that we'll be looking at really capturing some name and surname, the owner ID, physical address, postal address, contact information, cell phone number, email address, landline, and also occupation where available. And I need to also stress that we will be considering and also making sure that any information that is asked is compliant with PAPAIA, and that any information that does get captured is obviously in compliance with the Personal Information Act as well. So we are dealing with that quite sensitively as well, but it does become a critically important point to ensure that we validate that as well, but again, within the confines of PAPAIA. In terms of the property information, we'll be looking at things like the improvements. So is it improved or is it a vacant earth? Is there multiple uses on the land, or is it just a land use for residential purposes, for farming activity, as an example? Is it a national road? Would be important for us to also ensure. But as part of the exercise, photography will also be very important. But as we've stressed, papaya being very critical, but the number of self-maintained dwellings and units, shops and offices will be important. Identification of a commercial use in the case of, for example, residential areas, and then also looking at photos that just highlights the number of dwellings, the number of units, the number of shops and offices. For example, looking at the Plettenberg Mall as an example. Additional to that is also then looking at collecting information around if it's not the owner and the occupant, for example, identifying name and surname of the occupant, looking for if missing information, missing ID numbers and incomplete ID numbers are not consistent, looking at the postal address of the occupant, also within the dwelling, the contact number, cell phone numbers, email address, landline, very similar, but just ensuring that gets validated. In terms of the indigenous status, that will also be validated, but it's also important for me to just highlight that we will be revalidating based on the list provided from the municipality, from the revenue team, just to ensure that that gets also validated again based on the indigenous list of the municipality. Looking at the electricity meter information, which will be also important, we want to ensure is there metered service within the particular dwelling or subjected earth. The meter number and all particular information is updated as it relates to the information that we have present on SAMRAS, on the billing system, the GPS coordinates for each meter, and also a supporting photo being very critical to obtain as part of the survey. The business, in the case of a business, the company name, the business type, and also sector, company address, the company contact details such as the telephone number, cell phone numbers, as also the email addresses will be important, but again, within the confines of papaya. And then looking at things like the refuse bin information. So the number of bins that is at for a particular household or business or earth, the type of refuse bins per household or earth, and then whether or not a skip is used for example, a business or particular residential area, and then also ensuring that we have photos for the particular bin or bins. Really highlighting some of the process as it gets into how does this get performed in real time, but just really closing the loop on just some of the last set of information. So on the waterfront, we'll also be looking at the meter of the water meters as well, the information as it relates to information that is currently on SAMRAS, and is it correct, and making updates, GPS coordinates, and also supporting photography. As part of the stepped process that we look to embark on is that we will have field workers that will be prompt to follow a predetermined sequence of steps. So we will be, with each field worker that is on the ground, there will be training with also a field team lead, a field worker team lead that will guide. And on the arrival at a particular location, they will log the location and determine if property is accessible, which will be critical. If property is not accessible, a notice to request access on the gate or door, and also a date and time stamped will be also included. If access is provided, capturing the usage and taking the date and time stamped photos of the property, and also based on each of the I think step 2 really tries to or steps 3 to 4 tries to combine all of them. But as you've seen, there's quite a few categories. So it could be these broken up into different segments. For example, are we looking at personal or property related information? Are we then looking at water, electricity, refuse? So that ultimately the clustering and also the sequencing to the customer and citizen answering will be followed in a real sequential process. But I think just to emphasize the approach is that this information will be captured. The information to be used to identify houses operating and as a business is also required as part of our approach. In terms of step 3, again, the owner and occupant details will be critical. The water and electricity meter details, given that it is, for instance, a meter number that we'll need to obtain. It is a different meters that we would need to obtain. So therefore, it is a little bit more specificity that is required to ensure that we highlight what around the meter is critical to obtain, such as is it functional, is it working? What are some of the details? So is there a photo to support the particular meter and the particular electricity, and can it be tied back to the serial number? That would be some of the important items that we would be considering. And then step 5 is also the refuse bins and taking sure that that gets also date and time stamped. And then also, which is maybe not highlighted here, as part of the exercise, we will be geo-tagging, or at least the location of the meter will also be captured as part of the survey in and of itself. So just looking at some of the next steps, I just maybe wanted to park at this point in time and just find out if there's any questions just in terms of the approach that we will be undertaking before we get into some of the next steps, which I imagine might also be some of the questions you have.
Continue, because we are dealing with the item later under section 2 as well.
Okay, thank you so much. So I think just some of the next steps as part of where we are in the process. We have started the process of appointing field workers, and that has really been going really well. But we are still looking at appointing a few more field workers. But as part of the field workers that we have currently been screening as part of the recruitment process, we have identified a few in the different suburbs. But just maybe for me to highlight where we are still looking for, we are looking at 3 additional field workers from Plettenberg Bay area, and then also preferably looking within the suburbs of Kranshoek and also Kurland specifically. So those would be some of the immediate next steps to ensure that the field work team is fully ready and that we have the full strength team to achieve the full sample that we are looking to obviously reach. But we've just also highlighted the requirements that we are looking as part of the necessary background and also qualification requirements of the particular resources. But I think just the main responsibility is really being to perform the in-local inspections, being able to also be familiar with the region, and then also understanding that that again, there's different integrities that require to be undertaken, such as property and record and document management, such as the survey in and of itself, and then maintaining a clear record and audit of the inspection findings on the ground. And then really lastly is then being able to report on them. As part of this, I think maybe just for me to highlight at this point is the communication. We have started sending out notice in terms of that the survey will be undertaken. We have been in discussions with communications, and the intention is also that we continue to provide notices to the public through Facebook and also social media that we will be embarking on the the door-to-door survey as well. So that also just noting that has been on the go, but we are there. Some of the next steps is also that we will be circulating notices on social media as well. I just would like to maybe park and maybe just ask Andre if there's anything just in terms of the next steps that I have not maybe highlighted that you would like to perhaps add on.
Hey, we have about 4 minutes left.
Okay, if not, I think then that really covers the presentation. But then thank you so much. I'll take any questions from the floor. Thank you.
Yes, Clyde, I think later on, if you can remain on the air, and then when we deal with the item in finance section 2, and then we can refer questions to your presentation as well.
Can I ask something whilst we is parking? Am I allowed?
I actually want us to deal with it further down, Councillor Kolope, but because we will be dealing with the very same later on.
Am I allowed one question just whilst we will be waiting for him on that item? I just want one question.
Speaker,
Can ask.
at this point,
Can ask.
at this point, it would make sense that we allow councillors who have questions, actually direct questions directly to the presentation. Because my thing is the item, in as much as it's related, it's not really point for point what this is covering. So I would rather, if there's any unclear or clarity-seeking questions, people are given a chance to do that now with him. So when we get to the item, we know exactly we deal with the intricacies of the item.
Okay, councillors. Right, are you on the line?
Yes, I am still with. Yeah.
Okay, we have Councillor Kolope on the floor.
I am.
Since we've got since we've got an item that wants us to support or to be against the recommendations that can come there. Part of those recommendations that we need to take or decisions to take today, it is basically how long can we go back to this whole mishap of these things that has been going on into our municipality, that people were charged wrongly or mistakenly so. So I wanted to know, you say door-to-door has already started. So when you look from your door-to-door, especially dealing with the businesses sides, maybe for how long has been this going on? Is it more than 5 years? If you can just give your speculation, for how long has it been this whole mistake of the mischarging of the rates or of the services from your door?
Can I
just make
respond?
sure? Are you going to respond? Because MM is also here.
I think I'll maybe just make a high-level comment. I think as part of the exercise, we really looked at a sample going back to FY 2023, and really just looking at the implementation of also the tariff policies, given that there could be changes at that point in time, given the changes. So we have looked at a sample just to really see is the treatment correct, but we've not really gone back too far into, for example, 5, 10 years back to really look at that implementation. But I'll maybe allude to the MM as well. Thank you.
No, Speaker, that's why I was saying this one is perhaps for me, service provider, because right is going to respond on high level. So simplified, Councillor, in terms of answering your question, this municipality had a revenue enhancement program, same what Clyde they are doing now, in 2012 until 2017. That program ensured this municipality received over 50 million. 2017-18, that program was left. What happened? They were supposed to go out PwC, and the staff were supposed to be coming in internally in the municipality and working for the municipality. That did happen. Those staff of PwC included Heinz Stander, who was a project manager, was appointed at income section. It included Felicia Maketa, who was working for PwC, was also appointed. 2018-19, that program did not continue for some other reason which we're going to discuss on the item. And then it stopped, and I left the municipality. Felicia Maketa left the municipality. Carmen January left the municipality. Gloria Siko left the municipality. So on top of that, the program did not continue. The program then fell flat because there's no drivers of the program. So what they are doing now, they did not go back, but on the item which Felix has submitted on the financial recovery, these are the things that we've picked up already from that to say, this is the year 2018-19, that this thing has not continued. Should it have continued? what they've done, they've actually looked at 2020, 22, 23. So you will see on the example that they are making, it's a vacant stand, but there's a house that is already built, and we are charging rates on a vacant stand at 420,000, for example, where we're supposed to be charging rates on a property of 5 million, for example. That is happened, but we have not gone back now to say that, but the policy provision makes that in terms of the decision which this council have to take and when we discuss it.
Thank you, Councillor Sethi.
Thank you very much, sir. Let me start by welcoming the presentation that we are doing today. But I just want to ask, because I've seen there on the screen that you have already, you are going to appoint one person in KwaNokuthula. My question is that, have you considered the size of the areas before you can say, I am going to appoint one on this area to the other area? Have you considered the sizes of the areas? Because I can say KwaNokuthula is quite bigger than all the areas. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Sorry.
Continue, Clyde.
Yes, definitely. We have looked at the size, and we are actively in the process of also looking at, obviously, the routes, how we will be traveling on the certain routes, and ensuring, obviously, that the right capacity in terms of staff contingent covers the particular region. And how we've done that is we obviously are looking at obviously slots with different urban, as an example, so 30 minutes being more or less the timelines that we are expecting to complete a survey with one particular property. So we have tentatively made our suggestions and planned with those numbers in mind. But we will continuously be in conversations with finance as the process. But in terms of the plan, yes, I can say that we have considered the sizing, yes.
Is that answered, Councillor Sethi?
Just thank you. Just to add, but that must be understood, not misunderstood. Now, if you look at this, because the planning by PwC is done in conjunction with the CMO and myself. So if you look at this, we want to do what you call high impact areas. In KwaNokuthula, the last 5 years, what happened is additional houses of RDP were built. Few mushrooming chairs would have been done. So it's boxer now. So in KwaNokuthula, in terms of impact, even if it's a one person, the impact in terms of seeing those changes with the boxer now, which is in the process. But your RDP houses, because it's a sub-economical area, in any case, would not have much impact in terms of the rates that would have been charged. So it means that although it was a vacant, an RDP house is under sub-economical, there's no rates that is paid. So what the validation needs to be done is the validation for services. Are they connected to water and electricity? You know, but as we go along, let's say we establish more electricity and sewer, then we then add resources. We take resources from other areas and we add, in terms of that, Thanks.
Thanks, Aaron. I think that deals with the presentation. There's no other questions. Thank you, Clyde, for your presentation.
Thank you so very much, thank you so much, councillors.
Can you just wait there for us, right?
Yes, I will remain on the call. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will then continue to point 8. Items for information which has been dealt with by the executive mayor in terms of delegated authority. There has been a few items. The first item there, it is under section 2, the revenue management report, June 2023. And we have Insurance claim status report as at 30 June. I'm correct there. Then we have section 71 report for the month of June. Then we have OPCA report for 2020 till 2022. We have the revenue management report for July 2023. Section 71 report for the month of July 2023. The revenue management report August 2023. We have section 71 report for the month of August. A report on all resolutions taken by the various portfolio committees for the period of 2022-2023 financial year. The establishment of a Bitou Social Development Forum. The fourth quarter vehicle maintenance expenditure report for 2022-2023. That's the items that has been dealt with by the executive mayor in terms of his delegated authority. All the items has served on the section 80 committees. So is that true, Mayor? Yes, thank you. Councillor Kapka?
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, there's one item that we referred back. It's the fourth quarter maintenance report on the vehicles. So that item was supposed to come back with further information. More detailed information.
Yeah, it's the last one. We will.
The last one, yeah.
One of the item I prepared that, so it's not an item that has been dealt with, but it's fine. Yeah. Oh, it's still gonna come back.
Bring it back, Councillor Kamkam. That deals with the items for information. We will then continue to point 9. Yes. The noting of outstanding and partially implemented council resolutions. Councillor Kamkam?
Item is for noting, Speaker, but my interest is around the spaza shop policy. It was workshopped in, I think it was last year, September. And it still says that it was workshopped with the ward committees, and then, it just says that they are busy preparing a report for public, or a schedule for public participation. I mean, it's been more than a year. So, what happened there?
Director?
It's very I will follow up better, but as far as I know, is the center of task. So I was away on honeymoon, and I think it was advertised in that period when he was away.
About to commence with it during this month of November.
Yes, I will confirm, but that's how I understand it.
Thank you. Councillor Koloape, Councillor Mitchell.
At page 25, Speaker, I was just taken up to see that the second item, there's a LAT that is more of a expanded public works program called. Just curious that is listed under there, but most of the time in our PC meetings is Mr. Fezile Maki, who will always be standing out the things of EPWPs, the reports, the what. So I wanted to know the case of Mr. Tazela, if we've got somebody who's solely entrusted for EPWPs, why our EPWPs are not improving? For instance, having 200 and some odd, having 100 and some odd in the year, but we've got somebody who works solely under that as an EPWP or steer person. I was just curious about it, if I can get it correct on that. Everything. I never saw Mr. Dazela reporting about the EPWP in our meeting, so I was shocked to see that he works servicing that bed.
Amen.
So for the person that is appointed to do a specific task, and unfortunately, we have already discussed, EPWP must not follow phase. Phasing is at community services, EPWP goes there. If it's at engineering, goes there. If it's now at town planning, he goes there. So there is a specific person appointed to be doing that. So on the reflection, on the documentation, you have to reflect the person that is appointed. Right. Was that Fenzile was now gonna, because he has doing the work, which was trying to be done by somebody else. He was then gonna do what you call a proper handover, and then when they are ready, they can move. What we are out here is a loss of this grant funding. You will remember this municipality, we did already indicate that this municipality was getting about 3.5 million. And then it was taken away from Fenzile. LED, let's give them Tanzania. We did not do. After the proper reporting was not done, the municipality lost money, and then we only received 1.5 million. So now we're receiving 1.5 million. So we've lost the biggest chunk of that grant funding. So we then spoke Melanie to say, President must just try and assist to run it back to the people that are supposed to do. That is why President is always presenting on EPW.
Councillor Mitchell, then Councillor Mflana.
Thanks. It's 26 on the Wikipedia program learnership. I see there's no status or feedback on that program, and we announced that program in meetings. And I know that LED communicated with us that that program will take place with the housing program. So, Mr. Lottering, there's no feedback or any communication, and the people is informed about it.
The Council Resolution C6.
Yeah.
90-04-23, the Vukupile. His question was, there's nothing reporting on it because we did make a decision in council and there's nothing on it reporting wise. Mr. Sleeman?
Sorry, speak up. I'll see there on which item are we now?
Yeah, on page 26, the LED Economic Development and Planning section, the Vukupile program under Geoffrey Lottering. Item C.
Yes, I see. I'll have to find out from Geoffrey what is happening on that one. As far as I know, the memorandum of agreement was finalized.
Can we get hold of him, please, so that we can answer the councillor? And we will come back. Let us continue with Councillor Mflana, but we will not leave without answering the councillor here today.
Yeah, Speaker, this is frustrating because in our portfolio, we discussed these outstanding items, but seemingly they just crop up. I don't know where all these are coming from now. And what frustrates more is that there's no feedback and status on some of these items. So we don't know what is happening. And I want to request that those that are here from our portfolio must be sent back there so that we can process and follow them up. And there is an item there about augmentation fees by a developer of Boxer. I believe that Boxer is operational now, but yet here it says that it has not been paid. What augmentation fees have not been paid yet? Electrical augmentation fees. So I don't know. Seemingly, yeah, what we're discussing on the strategic workshop are still there. And I assume that all directors, they see this agenda before it gets to council.
Correct. We sit. This is sent to all directors by community services to update the documentation. Just on Boxer, it will remain there because there are still few challenges. They've been contacting me. The issue is the issue of electricity now, but we try to work around that. It's open the stove, but there's still a problem in terms of electricity, which administration must deal with it. It does not need the constitution again.
Mr. Sleeman, I take it we can't get hold of him?
Trying to get on with you now. Yeah.
No, it's fine. We will continue. Send him by the latest 12 o'clock via email. And the answer to the meeting. Or before the close of this council meeting.
All those items for that matter, because if you see the
Yes, no,
items
no,
under
no.
notary, all of them, they don't have any feedback there, including the tourism, quarterly tourism, whatever. There's nothing there. And it always the case every time we're in this. We get frustrated when it comes to the things of that department.
Councilor Mangaba, the executive mayor, then we're gonna.
Thank you, Speaker. And in all honesty, we may demand that we want answers, but we're not going to get them today. We've seen this happening over time and games. Can I just add, through you, Speaker, the accounting offerings has. Well, before that, he actually deals with the HOTs where the report are concerned. We find sitting at council and getting responses from HOTs such as I'm not sure. It could be that I need to confirm. This says to me when the attachment is sent, when the agenda is sent, none of them actually sits to actually go through the agenda. So it fits the purpose of us sitting there. Because the only way we would be able to play our role, which is an oversight, is them feeding us the necessary information that we require. And this is not an attack to anyone. It's been a constant recurrence in this council that we sit here with HODs who've got no answers. I know exactly that if we're going to force answers from all of that standing there, we're not going to get them today. Can it be the only day that we are accepting of such mediocre performance? Next time we come sit at council, they must come and be ready to actually answer on every report that is part of the attachments. Thank you.
Thank you. Executive Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. As the councillor said, this has been very important. I can stay in this list. I would like to suggest that it becomes a standing agenda item for all the portfolio committee meetings. That the portfolio committee goes through outstanding items from the previous council meeting to make sure that it's updated for the next council meeting. If it's a standing agenda item, we should be able to address these more regularly and make sure that they don't stand, that they're not outstanding for so long.
And ma'am, just before you go, what if we check this, but last time, and Councillor Mangaba is always in communication with me. Guys, I have now recently find it very difficult to remain calm by not responding to any emails. I've written emails asking for information, and we will get back to you. We will get back to you. And when we are in conversation specifically around Councillor Mangaba's issues, there is a heavy lack of response back on emails or just addressing what is raising. Say, I can show you emails even now, weeks ago. No one's. We'll get back to you. We'll get back. And that's why councillors is so frustrated because it has now become a I will get back to you situation. So, and then we will go.
No, Speaker, the last part of the communication, I did address with all managers. I instructed IT to give me, I think the first one is this week. Give me, because I asked legal services and Tanya if there's any encroachment of their rights. if I get to see how many emails have not been read. So I've asked IT. So far, there's no indication that I'm encroaching on anyone's right. On that matter, it was addressed. But this one, it does serve portfolio committees, the managers who receive this information before it goes to portfolio committees. What we are dealing with here is something that needs to go on the system and be updated. Because if you look at those items, I'm serving in the strategic services committees. Those repetitive tourism was submitted there. Somebody just need to go to the system and update the information to say that this item served in that portfolio committee on that date. It does not have to go further to make or to cancel, you know. So this is an issue of consequence management. It does not need Mayor any further council resolution that needs to be done there, you know. If you do not, if the information is submitted, well, you see, of avoiding that, we create rules. We create rules because something is not done. We must get to the issue of that is not doing what is not supposed to be doing, instead of creating policies and additional reporting and additional processing because somebody is not doing what is supposed to be doing. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Sabai.
Speaker, I don't know whether when you said to the acting director, he must call a junior official. I don't know whether you wanted to summon him to council. If you wanted that, that is wrong. Because the acting director is here to answer questions. If then he doesn't have questions, he have to go and find those answers and come back, you see. But the way you were saying to the acting director, he must call. I don't know whether you wanted to summon that.
No, that's why I said get hold of him.
Does not you must not do that again.
No, it's just
we are outside there, so people are listening. I was afraid.
No, it was just to get hold of him.
Okay.
Answer the house.
So speak of ready because Chris said that he was on leave. You know, so I don't know. I understood doing that because Chris was not. But the point that the councillor is making is that directors must respond to council meeting.
No. That's why he was just getting on because I don't want a situation whereby now, again, when Councillor Mitchell raised and there's no real answer for him when he leaves here, it's like another question. And because we have been stalling some answers to him when it comes to council. So I was just telling the director to get hold of the person responsible to get the information for him to leave here today.
Even that one.
That deals with 0.9.
I think, Speaker, before we proceed.
Councillor, I did not recognize or allow you to speak. Oh. I know. I want you to reserve your your time for your item. You know, if I can just put something forward to you. Try and remain as silent as possible during these open sessions so that you add to your bucket when you have that free time under your MPET. You see? Then you have, because you are free then. So let us continue, Councillor Kolopi, in
comment.
Under point 10, we're going to go to the portfolio of index. Councillors, just 2 items there that we will not be dealing with today. Item C1, stroke 69, stroke 10, stroke 23. And then item C1, stroke 171, stroke 10, stroke 23. There's some changes to that that items there. That's correct. Yeah. So,
C1.
First item. Panama. When we get there, we will.
Yeah. First item,
Section 1, the office of the municipal manager. The appointment of APEC member for a second term of 3 years. Item C, stroke 165, stroke 09, stroke 23. The item is now serving. Councillor Kolobi.
Thank you, Speaker. I go with the recommendation of the both manager and executive mayor. That only just next time when we consider to appoint in that audit committee, I wish we can also consider young people. Because when you look at that committee, all of them is old, experienced people. And a concern is that there's no secondary layer. We need to be considerate with that and including all people of ethnic groups that we're having in the staff.
Councillor Olafi, then Councillor Tapai.
Second the recommendation, but
No, Speaker, I wanted to ask, is that not a sprint? It's an NS. I thought it's not spring, it's a harness. It is harness.
Now that's correct there. Thank you, councillors.
Some people are worse, we can.
Item C, stroke 1, stroke 166, stroke 10, stroke 23. The municipal council recess and delegation to the executive mayor for the period of December 2023 to January 14th, January 2024. The item is now serving. Councillor Mtlana.
With the recommendations.
Sorry, let me just get the order right, correct? The order is as follows. Councillor Mitchell, Councillor Kamkam, Councillor Kolwapi, is that your end? And Councillor Manraba.
Thank you, Chair. Just want to find out, are we free with the recommendation of the mayor or the one of the municipal manager? No, Francis. No, it's not the one of
The other one is better. So we go.
Councillors, do we have Councillor Mitchell on the floor? Can we?
Just do this, Chair. 80%.
Which one is the one? Do you want?
No, we must go to
There's one date, the 11th of December. And then there's which is the other date? 18th.
Speaker.
For council to decide on. Councillor, I have not yet. Can you just get Councillor Mitchell addressed?
He's asking.
I'm asking.
I supported 11.
The item for the 11th by Councillor Mslana has been supported. We have not closed it yet. Let me just get all the councillors in the order. Councillor Kamkam.
Speaker, support the recommendation by the Speaker.
We are in support of the recommendation by the executive mayor.
Yes.
States the 11th of December. Thank you, Councillor Kolwapi, Councillor.
To that, let's go for the one of.
Councillor Manlaba.
Speaker, I was actually headed that direction as well, given the fact that it makes sense because the 15th is a public holiday, right? So it would make sense for us to actually go on recess on the 11th and actually extend. Yeah, that's about it. Because it would be really torture. Imagine coming to work, coming from a long weekend to be told this is your last day of work. I may as well actually take it on the 11th.
Any other councillor before we go? I take it we then accept the 11th. Thank you, councillors.
No, Speaker. I wanted to speak.
That's why I asked.
Speaker, I saw the executive mayor last year and he was a traffic down there. We must warn him now. This municipality has an executive mayor. So he will take all the responsibilities of this town. We don't want to see our mayor being a traffic down there. If he is then going to act like that, he must visit all the areas. Because last year he was solely concentrating only in what.
Thank you, Councillor. Let's move.
If you want to be a traffic, go also to.
Next item.
Be a traffic.
Third item. Item C, stroke 1, stroke 167, stroke 10, stroke 23. The Municipal Public Accounts Committee report on irregular expenditure of 2020-21 and fruitless and wasteful expenditure of 2017 and 2018 financial years. Item is now serving.
May you stand by the podium, ma'am? There's a pulpit there just for you. Now, bring you everything.
Thank you, Councillor Kolwape.
It's a little bit of upgrade I'm getting.
Can I ask in your address not to step on toes, please? Ask in your address that we not step on toes because we are dealing with regular things of the past. Let's continue.
To our executive mayor, to our executive deputy mayor, to our speaker of the house, to our executive municipal manager, and the executive notes. All and as we know that our role as a committee of the council is to do the oversight of all the things. And as we know that we started as this committee with all of the things that was developed that take us from 2017 up to 2022, no, 2021. Among the other things can normally come and some they are referred by supply chain. Some are referred by the council to us. Some are referred straight by Auditor General. And we always get some of the things that they need to be picked by Auditor General. They were not picked by all the other internal committees. Some are being referred by the internal auditors. So in this report that I'm carrying today, I've got mainly two items that will make them into manager. We've got a potential irregular expenditure since 2020, 2021 years, and 2021 and 2022. These items or these potential irregular expenditures, we pick them up as early as April this year. But we felt that we should not bring them all in the June report, so we still need to go and do a verification because they seem to be so common. You might think this one is the same money, they are of the same invoice, and not at all. So we needed to do a lot of verification before we bring things to this council, especially that we need even to quantify and or bring the monetary value about it. So if you look then, Annexure A is part of those write-off items to the consequence management that were part of the things that we dealt with on Tuesday. And if you can see, it's more of the things of the quality surveillance, the childcares. And you can see it's more of those container things that we in us in this council that it comes to us to go and check these containers in these different departments. And you can see that it's more of the things of Ignite, things that when apparently everything that were done beyond the times that were supposed to be done, the whole thing of the contract management. And also we can see that it's things about our security companies. So all those items, they've amounted up to 12,860,589 license. I've not verified them very well. So those items, we are bringing a recommendation for those financial aid that says, let's do a write-off with consequence management. And also a write-off, also asking councillors to go and verify this. Because I think that we've got more than 120 containers in this municipality, and we've got over 7 million. Then again, the item that we're having, amongst those irregular, I think financial, it was a case where we picked up, there was a member of the EPWD that was given in business. And the main thing that we picked up, even in a tender document or a code document, will be the one who even signed to make an order of this thing, of all these orders that was happening there. Those things amounted to 20,000. It was something that was part with that in the fencing, the pitch fencing, the case that we had, we referred it to the investigations. It was also a smaller part of it that was amounting to 25,909. The recommendation that we're having for Alex shall be as part of this irregular expense is to say, for us, we felt that it still needed internal audit because our role is to be overseeing, not to investigate. And when we spoke with Ms. Tester then in our meeting, she made mention the fact that it's not a problem to refer things to internal audit, but we must always take it and be mindful that internal audit are given a scope of work in a year. So we need firstly to approach the chairperson of the internal audit committee and to see is there a space for them to take the extra scope that it is not their mandate on. So I think that when it is this council that will think that our recommendation was well or not. And just to remind this council that as we are only doing recommendations to this council, it is this council to take what we have recommended, or they can even bring something different to this, but we are only bringing in recommendations. So our recommendation for Annex B was to say, let that item of 25,990 go to the internal audit for further investigation, that the municipal manager or whoever was supposed to join to the chairperson to see if they can take that extra mandate of work to add in their scope. Then we've got the third Annex C. It was also part of the irregular items that came to us on April, where that there was an amount of 747,500 rand that we couldn't even as this committee interrogate. There was no paperwork to support what that came in front of us. It was not justifying the amount of 747 that came. It was more about the consultancy fee of that company that we see there, and it amounted to that amount. For us as that committee, we recommended that the municipal manager to be authorized by the council to open a criminal case for this expenditure outlined at Annex C. That amount of 740. Again, let me remind this council, our recommendation, it is not a case for us, it is this council to say, you agree or not. And for us, when we're looking and interrogating that case, according to our merits and our point of view that we had in front of us, and the paperwork that we're supposed to have as more giving us a decision to work on when we interrogate, we couldn't find anything. Even the director was lost to pick that. and we refer that as one of the things that it should be criminalized. If you go to the item that was referred on the 30th of June by this council, an item that was more defined as a fruitless and wasteful expenditure. This expenditure was incurred during 2017 July and 2018 June financial year. It was just surprising to pick up to have such a kind of a wasteful expenditure since 2017 and 2018. It was incurred by council to us when we interrogated it. We find that there were a lot of things that made us also to agree as that committee when we looked at it, that it was really a fruitless and wasteful expenditure. It was about that case of the fire station that was started at the airport. The containers are there, maybe 7 to 8 of them. The things were ordered, some were delivered. But the main thing with this case is the sensitivity about it. Whilst it was not handed over to the municipality, but it was fully paid according to that amount of 752,639.12 That was the tender amount that they were allocated the tender that company based on. But when we were even doing interrogation, that was even more alarming, is to find that the amount was not only limited to that, it went up to 811,000 that was paid over and above. With the thing that was not even delivered to the municipality as a finished product that needs to be used, to a point that it was not finished. Some of the things that were ordered to be made use to that station, they went and being delivered to different areas. To our People's Station, you will find that there were a lot of chairs that were put there. The beds, we don't know. When we visited the place, you will be shocked to say that it was not finished. It's leaking. Everything that we did from the still, it's collapsing, everything. And paid in full amount with the extra 56,000. As this committee, we felt that we can do a recommendation that says we also accept the entire amount is a wasteful expenditure because it was ever used. And even those things that are used in other different departments, they were not meant to be used in those departments. They were supposed to be in that station at the airport. Because of that, we feel that it is a wasteful, fruitless expenditure because after still so many years, that station is still sitting there wastefully, a lot of things that goes with. And we felt that as this committee that we recommend that that case should be referred to the disciplinary board. Because if we say it goes to investigation, it will cost us another money. We'll be robbed by this council if we go to investigation, rather it goes to the disciplinary board with the few things that we've even outlined or picked up about it. And there's also that there's a potential of another irregular thing that comes in because there were services that were done that will piggyback on that tender. So I'm just explaining why we took that decision of a disciplinary board. And we also asked the further investigation and that was done by disciplinary board and that consequence management will implement for officials that are implicated in the report. I don't know whether some of my team members have to say something on this.
Thank you, Councillor Kolope.
One council just go and see how many Googles is in this case. This to prevent these patterns of behavior. Went to the whole case, and there was even one that an official were asking or was somebody with the plane or the contractor to get paid. And we can't allow officials to get so deeply into full standard of contractors. If there is any upfront payment, that must come from our side. And to prevent this, we really need to see if we go to cost management, what we gonna do. The thing is that all of the people in the municipality know that there's gonna be cost management, done, and they're gonna be back in the commission. It's no proper consequence for these things. That's why it's happening over and over and over again. So if we can just make time and go through them. So when it comes to consequence management, then we should see what to do. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Mitchell. And the accounting officer is listening.
So I think I've already the recommendation that we're having for each and every alleged case of the irregular potential expenditures and that one of the wasteful. So with that, I please council and also say the recommendation that goes. But as I'm saying, that the recommendation depends on this council. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Koluapi. Councillor Kamka.
Thank you, Speaker. Support that recommendation fastly promoted.
That deals with the third item. Next item. Item C, stroke 1, stroke 168, stroke 10, stroke 23. The acting allowances for senior manager positions and senior managers acting in the post of municipal manager. Item is now serving. Councillor Kamkam, I see your hand there. I just want to get the order. Councillor Kolop, is that your hand? Okay, MM, then we'll give to the councillor.
Speaker, sorry, when you sometimes write and then you read yourself. You understand recommendation 1 and 2, I think they contradict each other. So only recommend to cancel recommendation 1. And then I got the comment of the legal manager after I have submitted. If you listen to the comment of the legal manager, it says that you ask COPTA if somebody is made worse off. So in this case, nobody is made worse off in terms of these acting people. This item was brought about to try and deal with this situation because the managers are already acting earning more than the directors. To bring about that, because you act in a position, but it's really no financial benefit for the active. But however, this item now resolve the situation now. I thought that recommendation 2 must come out because it does the way for not into recommendation 1. And then the last recommendation, number 5, must also come out because nobody is worstly affected. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Kamkam, then Councillor Koluapi.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, the MM touch now on that recommendation that must come out. If I read this item, from what I understand, from what the legislation allows, it says, if you go to page 85, 8.5.1, it says the salary component for determining the acting allowance will be 60% of the remuneration package of the post in which the employee is acting there. Then it goes to clause 8.3. And where it says, that's now on the next page, it says where an employee's salary is higher than the commencing notch of the salary of the post in which he or she is required to act, an acting allowance amounting to 5% of his pensionable salary shall be paid. So I'm trying to understand now this 5%. Are we now saying we want to up that 5% to 15%? That's what I want to know. And then the other thing is that if you also go further and you read this item, we all know the problem of the junior managers, that some of them earn more than the directors. However, as a council, on several occasions, because it's an inherited problem, that we've inherited, and on several occasions, we've actually pointed out that specific challenge. So to me, it feels like, now we say that some of the directors are reluctant to act because, the junior managers already earns more than them. So there's no incentive to then act as a municipal manager, which in actual fact, it's also about gaining the experience. But why are we now trying to fix a problem that's existing by creating another problem? I don't know if I'm clear. Then it's not the relation of if we go to the comments of the legal services management, it does say that we can waive. Or council, nothing prohibits us from deciding to remunerate them at a higher rate. But we also should then apply or state to SALGA why we want to waive the decision. So it's concerning to me that now this item comes and it seems like we have to take this decision, but we still have to consult with SALGA, number one. And the other thing is also we want this decision, if we want this to date it back to last year, July 2022, which I also have a problem with. So look, we all know that it's not as if we adopted a revenue enhancement plan. We sit with a lot of institutional challenges in terms of our work ethics and all the rest of it. We sit with a bloated overtime expenditure and all the rest of it. And at the end of the day, when we look at the value for the money that we are getting, it seems like we are just adding, we're just piling, we're just giving more money, we're just hoping, I don't know. To me, I don't know. I feel that, this decision, we need to relook at it. We need to relook this decision.
Councillor Kolobi?
No, Speaker, it's as if Councillor Come read my whole concerns that I had when I read this. And firstly, before I talk, I wanted firstly to get this explanation of 60% and this 15%. And also looking at that, what says nothing in law prevents council from deciding to remunerate employees at a higher rate. But why still we need to take things to the MEC if nothing prevents us? And still the MEC have got courage of denouncing whatever from us. And it takes us to lawyers and everything. That power. But at the same time, that question was, that answer was saying, but even if we can have the whole decision with us or the freedom of doing it, it should not be more than the upper limits that are stated into SALGA, whatever prescriptions or bargaining chambers and whatever. So I wanted to know, Kengoku, this 15% and 60%, because I'm trying to think we've been sitting with this problem of juniors that were paid so much higher. Again, now we're bringing 15% on top of them. And I understand most when people are acting, when they are juniors, even if they act, they get a lot of money. But the fact that it appears to their CVs that they've been acting for 4 days being this, acting for 5 days being that, it is also, it's an advantage to them in their profile more than the earning of the money, because it's already in this municipality, all of us, we know that we inherited a very unfair way practice of money that were paid here in the juniors and in the junior managers. And the last time I knew, it was still, I think, LLF committee that was still trying to right size and, fixing these things. But still those things were going back to the officials that were claiming this municipality, saying that the expectation were raised to them. So once we've got this problem, again, we create another one, instead that we can fix totally this one, the entire problem that we inherited. Then those people that are willing, they can even offer themselves when they want to act without even being compelled, so that at the end of it all, they can save this municipality. This municipality is for us all, not to go bankrupt. Because if it goes bankrupt, it means we won't have a guarantee of another salaries to come. So now I'm speaking to the conscience now, when it comes to this, instead of us needing to add, I'm still backdating. Whilst people were earning so much, it was just my concern.
Thank you for
Speaker, I'm not to elaborate on what the latter speakers mentioned, but one thing that we must understand is that it's how it is. We inherit government. We don't start a new government. So we're not going to sit and cry about what has happened before, but we're going to take decisions that will take us forward into the future. Me, I wanted to suggest that we stick to the 5%. There's nothing wrong with this being returned, the item. The decision is upon us as a council. So I want to suggest that we stick to the 5%. And also relook on this issue of the payment for backdated payment. So I want us to, that's what I wanted to suggest, that we stick to the 5%.
Thank you, Speaker. I really concur with what the previous speakers alluded to. I had turned this item upside down just to see because I think the issue I have with just acting for me is how so much focus in this municipality is at the remunerating factor of the acting rather than the quality that comes with the acting. Because if we go back to the why we have that mechanism, it is so that there is continuity, be it a certain person is present or not, or in their absence rather. That we have somebody acting on their behalf so that there's continuity or there's no breakage in service that is delivered and work that is done. But what I find in this institution, we zoom into what can I get out of it? Whereas even after the person that was on leave had returned, they still have memos that they still need to attend to. That could have been easily attended to by the person who was acting at the time. It's like our only focus is set on the monetary value of the acting rather than the quality of work, as well as what is capacitating our people. And I will still go for the 5% where the person acting is actually on a notch that is higher than the position they actually are acting in. I'd rather we stick to that we can easily manage, and over and above that, where back pay is concerned, it will not hit the municipality as hard, because now if we're looking at 15 and then we look at back payments as well, we are actually sitting with a situation that is problematic than a solution. Thank you.
If I start, I'm not responding to the councillors, but I take from the last two speakers. The most important here, Speaker, is what Councillor Mhlanga said. An item has to come to council and council make a determination. So I did not want to say to you before we start the meeting that this item must be, because I want council to deliberate and resolve on this thing so that it does not become an issue for us again going forward. So there's two things here. So the first one, what Councillor Kamkam is reading something from the South African Local Government Bargaining Council. The directors are not under the bargaining council, you know. So you've got a problem here where bargaining council says 5% of acting in a position. That legislation is written and is meant for people that are managers or staff that falls in the bargaining council. It was not meant for this problem that we then experienced with Councillor Chara that we all inherited in the government, you know. So that's the first part. But if you look at it now, I wrote the item because it says we must then ask SALGA, but this is a decision of council because the appointment of people acting in director's position is a decision of council, not a decision of SALGA, you know. So I had to bring the item because the managers are sitting and are saying, it's not worth it to act in a position of a director. Now, I'm going to touch what Councillor Mangaba, which has actually said, which is very, very fundamental. It's not worth it because the risk involved is too high to be remunerated at 1,800. a month. Well, it's about 1,800, sometimes lesser than that, depending on where you are. You know, if it's Maredi, it could be even 700 rand. You know, if it's Michael Road, it could be even 900 rand. You know, it depends which manager is actually acting. So they're saying the risk. So I have to listen to this and say the risk that is involved there is actually too high. But at the same time, what Councillor Samangaba is raising is how do you prepare yourself for personal growth and development? Because that acting should not be looked at by the individual only on the basis of remuneration also. Because that acting also capacitates you taking those risks. So you're taking those risks in preparing yourself for the future growth. So the item is correct to be brought here so that council look at all the options, including financial viability and affordability, if you actually had to consider. Now, the reason for backdating is that if council were to approve this thing now, how fair is it to those that have already acted? You know, so that is why it was looking at that holistically. But as I said again, when the item was prepared and written, I did not have the letter that I have received now from the national minister. And in my understanding, the letter from the national minister addresses this problem very well. So it's not going to be an issue. So it's very clear now in terms of that acting, it can be resolved, that issue of 5%. So it was just a monetary value in terms of SALGA, where you say the monetary value in terms of what SALGA says. SALGA is meant for only staff that are under the South African Local Government Council. But what is interesting, the opinion which, what is his name from SALGA now?
Yes.
Jasper gives. Jasper is very experienced, he's been there. He's saying, although the directors are not under that, the council as a collective is part of SALGA. So you cannot separate yourself as part of SALGA because you are part of SALGA. So the decision of bargaining, so the decision that you take, although it's for senior managers, must be in line in terms of association with SALGA, you know. So I had to bring the item. I mean, there's nothing wrong even for them. I don't think they will take it personally if council does not approve it. You know, it's for council ready to consider it and then say that it's not approved now. But all that it means, Councillor Mhlana, is that we don't even say that we stick to the 5% because the issue of the upper limit, which is approved by the, addresses this matter now. So the item could actually be said is withdrawn instead of saying we stick to the 5%. You know, it's not approved and it's withdrawn.
Councillor Mhlana, Councillor Kamkam.
The recommendation for.
Yeah, with that being said, then I want to request council to withdraw this item. At least we have a guidance now in terms of the communication from national minister.
Not approved.
I agree.
There's a proposal by Councillor Mhlana and seconded by Councillor Kamkam that the item be withdrawn.
Councillor Maxine.
Councillor?
Part of those recommendations, there was that recommendation number 4 to backdate. So the upper limits, they will answer the fact how to do with the percentage, but with the fact of it backdating. Whether with a store or what.
All items been withdrawn. We're not implementing anything.
Thank you. Next item.
I can come to disarm.
Item C, stroke 1, stroke 169, stroke 10, stroke 23. Advertising the whole and approval.
Speaker, come back.
No, I'm just.
You're not going to be able to explain your charge. Wake up.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to introduce the item and say it's been withdrawn, but we will just talk about it.
Thanks, Speaker. From the beginning, the Speaker indicated that this item will be withdrawn, but now he's explaining the reason that he's putting it. Get an explanation why is it withdrawn. He said it's one of. Councillors, we've received, I think the letter is dated Friday, but we received it yesterday. from the national minister is attached on the other item. What the national minister is saying in terms of the approval of the waiver. You applied for a waiver in terms of the council resolution and the MBC, state the province approved it, supported it. But the minister is saying, I've looked at all the documents and everything that you are saying. Part of my responsibility as a minister, I need to look at the financial viability. I need to look at your ratios, whether you can afford this and all of that. However, even though Bitou municipality ratios are very low, it's that later. The main problem that the minister is addressing is that there should not be a situation where directors and the municipal managers are earning less than their subordinates. And he's approving the waiver in terms of that principle on that basis. And this gives us an opportunity when we advertise the two other positions that at least much bigger pool. Nobody's going to be fined more now of upper. On that basis, then when the item came, I had then informed the mayor, and then we then discussed it, and then we said to Felix, this is a situation now, the item is going to cancel. You withdrawn on the basis that the MEC approved a waiver that is lesser than what you are earning now. Would you consider your position? Because I need to table it to cancel. And then he says, definitely, because in the application of the waiver, it's exactly similar to what we were asking, for the waiver from the national. You will see the national minister approve the waiver, which is also higher than what the MEC and upper. And that basis, the position of the CFO, because Felix has accepted for the next item, which we've changed, if council accept Felix appointment, is the item that I amend now. But I was told by my team that you cannot change that other number that is allocated, so that item will be on a specific number. They will deal with that administrative. So on that basis, then you don't have to advertise the CFO. Council confirms Felix as an appointed CFO, and then we'll only deal with the two other directors' position.
Thank you, MM. Next item. It's item C, /1/170/10/3. The extension of appointment of acting director. Yeah.
So Speaker, this item as well, it's withdrawn, but this one is withdrawn with a replacement where confirmation of Felix that he's taking the position. So the item that you will deal with at the end of your part A is the item where Felix says accepting, then council confirm that. So this one is also withdrawn on that basis. But now you don't need to extend the acting anymore.
Thank you. Move on. Director, now acting director, development and planning. As item there is item C, /1/171/10/23. The re-advertising and approval of selection and recruitment process for the filling position of director planning and development.
Just clarity, Tanya is asking me now, I'm hoping I'm hearing you correctly. I think that's the result.
Next one.
On the next one, okay. So this is a re-advertisement process. We had potential two candidates, but again, the pool. But because we went to Cape Town last week to deal with this issue of the upper limit, and we're anticipating the results from the national minister, it is best for council to consider to re-advertise the position and try and get a much bigger pool, and then continue with the process in terms of the. So this will be the last re-advertisement of this position. Director planning and development. Correct, yeah. Chris does not have to go out because he's.
Oh, he's not going out. I think he's just.
Oh, he's coughing.
Yeah. Recommendations, please. Councillor?
No, Speaker, just for clarity from the I know that was person here also a candidate, but because of what you have explained, it's remuneration. Did you try and get hold of that candidate? Same as what we did with
The difference is this one, council has not made an appointment on planning and development. The last council resolution said position must be re-advertised and that panel must do a shortlist. That panel seated and did a shortlist, and in the shortlisting process, that panel then coming back to council now to say that after that process, we are actually considering to say that we ask council that the position must be re-advertised because council has not made an appointment so we didn't proceed with the interviews or anything. So we don't have a candidate that went through the process which council already offered the position. So that's a difference with this one.
Thank you. Item is 7, Councillor Olivier. Called by Councillor Olivier to re-advertise. Deputy Mayor,
Second, Speaker.
seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Next item. Item C, stroke 1, stroke 172, stroke 10, stroke 23. The extension of appointment of acting director, planning and development for the period 1st December 2023 until 31st March 2024. The item is now serving. Amen.
Because there's a slight challenge, the legislation, the way it's written, appointment of directors, it's a specific time frames that you need to comply with, but also the issue of advertising. There must be specific days that the advert must circulate. So for some reason, I don't know if all the consideration were taken when the legislation were written. So in this item, it's highly unlikely because council meeting is today. And the requirement is that this advert must circulate in a national, national circulating newspaper. So today is Tuesday. In terms of submitting this advert to the national newspaper for this week, we are not on time. So it's going to be next week, if I'm correct, in terms of
12 November.
12th November. 12th November. Yeah. So if you look at that, then you can go to the next item, the
Previous item.
Please just quickly go to the previous item. I just need to explain this correctly.
Yeah.
So if you look at those timeframes, then 12th November, and there's a specific time frame when the position must close. So if it's advertised on the 12th of November, it must close on the 11th of November, which counts for that 30 days, which is a requirement. And 11 November, between 11th of November, 11 is at 11 December.
12 November.
Sorry, 11 December, sorry. Yeah. So if you look at 11 December, council is in recess. Avoiding a situation of the municipal manager and the executive mayor because you are in recess. And we need the portfolio chairperson to be part of that shortlisting process. But if you do that shortlisting process, you need about 2 to 3 weeks because you must do the vetting and qualifications verification and all of that. So then it's already going to the time of holidays and even the candidates that would apply on holidays. So the shortlisting can only happen within 30 days, which is around the 10th of January. Now, if all goes well, 31st of January screening and everything, Thursday, 1st of February, and then 28th February, appointment, the outcome is ready to cancel. So then you're looking at November, December, January, but already then we're exceeding the 3 months. The legislation says acting can only be 3 months. So even MEC can only approve acting for 3 months, which is what the legal manager says. But unfortunately now, the successful candidate will still have to give a notice wherever the candidate is working. These are not positions where you can get somebody here today to start tomorrow. So we will definitely exceed that 3 months. So I wanted to explain that in the next item of acting. But we had a discussion and the legal manager feels strongly that, so the mayor sent me a message as well to say that the acting can only be allowed for 3 months. So either we then go to the item and they say that we seek Chris Schliman to act from, remember, he's already have the acting that is approved by council for the first 3 months, which does not need the MEC. That was for September, October, November. Now we need permission of the MEC for December, January, and February. And we are almost guaranteed that by February, the candidate will be issuing a notice. So it's either we come back to council for additional acting and then we approve only 3 months in this item. So that's what I wanted to explain. Because it's December, January, February. It's either we just follow the legislation as it is to 28 February 2024, then we come back to council. But I'm of the view because there's also administrative law, administratively, are we not repeating the same exercise? Avoiding not to be non-compliant by bringing that item again, council. But to be rather safe, I am advised that rather put it to February so that council does not find itself of requesting for 4 months where you can only do 3 months. So that's on recommendation number 1 to be in February.
Thank you, Councillor Manlaba. Councillor Kamkam.
Thank you. Now with the information that's provided, it's account space to actually with the recommendations provided, we change that 31st March 28th. Because even in, I think the only discussion we had, it was on those dates. Given the fact that there's no legislation supporting that. So we will go with the recommendations, provided we change the 31st of March to 28th February. Just.
Did you have a caucus? Or you are singling out?
Supporting your point.
Is it the full moon? Okay. It's a leap year next year, so 29th of February.
29th then.
29. Thank you. Next item. Item C, stroke 173, stroke 10, stroke 23.
Re-advertising and approval of selection and recruitment process for the filling of position.
Director Corporate Service.
Mr. Speaker, this item was circulated in committee. Yeah. So
we're going to deal
in committee section, yes.
Okay, no, then we will deal with it in committee, then call Ms. Wilderman back.
No, she can stay. There's the next item, the extension.
And it's frozen. My head is frozen.
Next item, item C, stroke 1, stroke 174, stroke 10, stroke 23. The extension of appointment of the acting director corporate service for the period of on December
We have to wait one.
until 31st March 2024.
So you have to deal with that first item in committee before you deal.
With this one. So we're gonna bring it back into the open again after dealing there. Make sure if that's all the items under the municipal manager.
Correct, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, 175 is not there. Amen. The one set of this morning that you gave us, do you want to deal now with it?
The one on the in committee, the other one is the acceptance of feelings.
Yes.
So I would rather start with the in committee so that council can see the letter from the national side. That acceptance.
Okay. To section 2.
Section B, yes. First item in section 2. Item C, stroke 2, stroke 155, stroke 10, stroke 23. The report on the implementation of the supply chain management policy for the first quarter, 1st July to 30 September 2023. The item is on page 115. Item is now serving. Councillor Manlaba, Councillor Mslana.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I would like to be clarified on something pertaining to SCM. And it's quite unfortunate that last month we didn't have a council meeting because I was actually gonna table it there as well. We are aware of what's been doing rounds on social media. We know how comfortable our people are with their keyboards where this municipality is concerned. And as they should, because it's within their right. I just need clarity. I'm not sure whether Mr. Moretti would be able to assist me in this regard. Have we resolved the system-related issue that caused quite a number of service providers to be actually either contacting us or coming straight into the municipality saying their payments have not been done after a work that was done? Because upon my research and following up obviously on relevant offices, I found that I'm not sure whether we were not capacitated much in terms of with the system that is called new, or is our staff not well versed where score is possible. But I just need that clarity for council's sake, and as well as because I know this is a public meeting, that also our public is actually quite aware and put at ease where that issue is concerned.
Thank you. Let me first give to Councillor Mhlala.
Yeah, Speaker, no, I just want to find out whether it is permissible in terms of law to have a column that specifies that whether the service provider is local or is an outside service provider. Was my understanding is that they score points on being local. And we also want to check in terms of local economic development, whether our people or service providers from Plettenberg Bay are really benefiting from these big tenders that have been out there by our municipality.
Thank you. Councillor Kolopi.
Thank you, Speaker. When I was reading through, I find that we've got a lot of tenders that are classified as, when we come to the amount, total amount estimated, it will say rate base, subject to availability of funds. And when you look at that from page 117, you go there, you find everything is for rate base. And I was like, are we not opening a loophole of more of how can I put it? Opening a loophole of it needs to be just
Prices.
yeah, inflated as a how. Because document, I understand that it will say this year, if it's a 3-year thing or 4-year, it will say this year how much you charge. What is the escalating? Is it 8% or 10%? What is the escalating of the other year? Where you even conclude the amount of the other year when it's a certain percent. So if we will put our rate base, why are we not putting the entire amount of saying it's so much for a certain year, it's so much? Because these things allows people to say that the inflation rate, it's 12%. And according, because this thing we felt it when it comes to legal contracts that were here, where everything was just so abused because it's a rate base, it's open, it's everything. So are we not also ourselves, supply chain, allowing a loophole of opening if amounts are not being placed here according, if it's 3 years, in a total amount of 3 years, it was so much, total amount of 3 years. It was just my concern that why we've got a rate base, officially rate most in the inflation, it becomes firm.
Okay. I will allow the first 3 questions, then I've noticed you, Councillor Mitchell, just to be answered by Mr. Maredi.
Thank you, Speaker. The first question of Councillor, we all know with the implementation of any financial system, there will be what we call glitches. It is given. However, the municipality during the implementation we allow the service provider to provide training to all the service users. There was quite a number of training sessions that were arranged for managers, including the superintendents and supervisors. And we have actually anticipated that even when the training has, been completed, you still be sitting with 2-3 people who will still feel uncomfortable because of sometimes you find that now people are get used to a particular system as we had. Now, the user proficiency on the one that we're using now might be of a challenge, but we actually anticipated on that. We even allowed the service provider to have what we call a service platform, where we encourage the user departments that in the event where you have got a problem, directly deal with the service provider, and then the service provider will respond to the user promptly. As time went on, there was what we call in a contact session where I was involved. We called all managers who referred to your service delivery champions, like your water, electrical, and fleet and the guys. Then we had to, as a person, as a matter of comfort, to say that how do you find the system? And then if there were any challenges, then we assisted to make sure that we don't let service delivery to stall. However, we know change management, speaker, it's a quite a task in itself. However, we actually requested the service provider to extend to dealing with the issues of change management. Where we are now, speaker, I would say we are comfortably in use of the system. If there are certain continued glitches there and there, it has actually been a question of the commodity not linked to the budget. And that was something that actually, as a municipality, it is not the system, it is the municipality because of, if you can recall, the budget process commenced in February, March. And the implementation of the system was in July. So somewhere you find that now the user departments have forgotten to, budget for a particular commodity. And at the time of implementation or the time of procurement, you find that now the user department cannot procure because of now the commodity is not linked to the budget because of the budget was not actually captured right from the beginning. Those were the those were a major part of the majority of the challenges that we incurred the system, whereby we had to come up with a way of, because that is in line with OnScore, we had now to open up some commodities to allow that let the commodity not refine. We use what we call the broad part of the commodity, just for service delivery not to be affected. So where we are now, yes, we understand that the first quarter of the year actually was heavily affected. Now I think we are in a position where we say procurement is moving. And all the glitches that we have encountered in the first quarter are quite lessened now. Obviously, we need to also state that we might see improvement in expenditure in actually the third quarter than in the second quarter, to be honest, because of the fact that December is a short month and Treasury obviously closes procurement from the 15th of December up to the 15th of January. So council might be expected to see improvement on the side of expenditure in the third quarter as compared to in the second quarter or the first quarter. So just to try to answer about that. The issue of Councillor Mhlana with regard to are the local people benefiting? If you can look at the report, we have reported that, just go quickly to my report, Sir Speaker. There is a total of 32 contracts that were awarded for this financial year. And if you can look at the percentage that went to, or the number of tenders that went to the local people, as in Bitou, you know, it's actually 4. And that in itself, it shows that at least there is something in Bitou. Remember, some of the contracts as awarded, but find that is big technical contracts where, you know, it's not everyone that, you know, in Bitou has got the capacity in managing or in implementing or taking part in those contracts. Now, we still we're still encouraging the contractors through the LED, because remember, supply chain is just a procurement department, actually the secondary support function in the procurement. We rely on LED also to come on board, making sure that in terms of the development of the SMEs is where now LED comes into space. So we try by all means to make sure that whatever we do, LED is also taking part to make sure that it works directly with the SMEs within Bitou. So we will definitely see an improvement. I think in the meeting I had with Mr. Lotrang and Mr. Jonas in my office, dealing with the same issue of the SME development within the Bitou and how we can make sure that our SMEs take part right at the beginning of the demand management plan process, because of now, in most cases, that now we as procurement, we start the DMP, but then now LED is not there to also, you know, to sing the same song with us. I think we try to find each other, and then I think moving forward, as we prepare for the 23-24 financial year, we'll be in a position to take this vehicle, Councillor Mshana. But as we're saying, it is a challenge with regard to the SME development and the SME training, because of some time that now our SMEs will definitely fall out with regard to pricing, you know, and unfortunately, SCM is not in a position to say that, no, this is how you need to price as an SME. We are definitely prohibited by Section 217 of the Constitution on that one. The issue of the rate-based tenders, unfortunately, Speaker, these are the tenders, for them as when required, because of at the end of the day, it will be more cheaper and more effective for the municipality to go into a 3-year contract than to depending on a 12-month contract. We've tried that, and to be honest with you, it did not work for Bitou. So it's better for Bitou to look into your long-term contracts. Hence, we even submitted or took the policy of supply chain to council to say that some of the tenders related to IT, and then let's just make them 5 years, you know, so that we avoid that thing of us going every time to the market, because of it takes time to actually avoid to start the tender, right, at the BSC and you to award. It takes time. Average of something like 4 months. Now, by the time when you start procurement on the 1st of July, you will find that now you can only award by sometime maybe end of October. 4 months is gone, you know, in a financial year. So then we say, no, let's look into the 3 years of the contract, 3 years awarding of contract, so that by the time we can suffer the first portion of the year, but moving forward, at least you have got 2 years, you know, to be having a vehicle of procuring. The other thing with the race base is some of the user departments, because of in most cases find that there's a tender and it's a vehicle. Let me just take for example, plant. Plant is not only used by roads. Plant can also be used by waste. So having a vehicle that is a procurement vehicle that can service multiple of department actually can assist Bitou, rather than to say that waste go to your tender alone, you then let's go to your tender alone. Then from there we can commit the rent value to the tender. I'm not sure if I've managed to answer everything. Thank you, Boss.
Thank you. Ready? First, Bitou.
I just want to advise especially speaker's office when hosting events. We must protect the name of the municipality. And
Councillor Mitchell, no, I totally now throwing wild accusations, Councillor.
Can you point to the item where it says speakers office?
I see that.
Please direct your conversation to that point, please.
I want, okay, let me,
It can be shown on the screen.
Chief, okay, page 123, 123. Apologies. I just want to say that we can't wait for youth forums to come to you to ask if the people are paid or so. When we make use of local artists or so, that is the people that we need to pay first. Because now they were running around, getting money, and the event was good. There's no communication. We must make sure that, or let us confirm if people are paying for food or are they still waiting for their money. That's number one, Chief. And then number two, there's no way in business that one company can beat me on all things. There's no. And as you can see, there's a trend going on here of a company. It's getting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's getting everything now. And we need to, because the forum in Verizon is going to sit with this agenda and also coming back to it. We must be careful. We must protect the name.
Who is friends with a company?
No, we must still find that out.
Thank you, Councillor. MM?
If the service provider say they are not paid, I don't have that in front of me. The CFO does not have that in front of me. Then we, instead of coming in council meeting and say that the service provider contacted me, and here is that they are saying that because now chasing the goose, I don't know. Just if they are not paid, that's fine. They can come forward and say they are not paid for whatever reason.
No,
Lastly, the procurement process is open and transparent. So we now stop cases because they are always the cheapest.
No.
It's a process that was open and transparent. They won in a transparent process. What can be done, which our policy allows, which I would understand, is the issue of rotation. When you ask quotations, but even if you rotate, you cannot tell that person, don't go now. So I think those are the things that is allowed within the.
No, let me just quickly, I will give you now. You see, my concern here is, and this is something that I've been discussing with Councillor Mitchell on a regular basis. He continues to say he doesn't mind being fired
By his organization.
as long as
This tells information in such a way that a certain grouping is believing. Because he's openly declaring he doesn't mind to be fired by his organization.
Out of order, speak.
No, it's been selling wrong.
it's been selling wrongly.
Speaker. You too.
It's been selling wrongly because the way he's going about it, it's been selling wrongly. The things is being selling wrongly, and I've tried my best to say that let us not sell things wrongly.
We'll give you gloves, both of you.
Councillor, let me just, I will be with you now. Councillor Mhlana, then Councillor Manraba.
Yeah, in fact, Speaker, what I was basing, it's there on lecture C. Lecture C, I think it's 135. It stipulates the locality, but there it's just blank. Them are blank. So that's what I was asking to have that information, even in a big agenda, so that we know exactly whether our people are getting benefit. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Manraba, then Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you, Speaker. And I thank the official for having to have covered me accurately in terms of my questions and my concerns. I'm comfortable. Speaker, through you, I would like the accounting office of this municipality to actually indulge me. He knows the type of questions I ask where our grant funding is concerned. We sat here last year and I confirmed how comfortable or how confident are we in terms of our spending going into the festive season? Or let me rather say, how, if you have specifics in terms of percentages, how far are we where our spending is concerned when it comes to grant funding?
Can we?
Wait.
This,
That's what I want to just get order now. Councillors, can I ask that we direct ourselves to the actual item in front of us?
I will protect my.
I will never, I must admit.
Speaker, is that your way of trying to?
From that speaker.
I have a question.
I want you to, we have order, please.
Order, please. I'm still on the floor. Is that your way of saying the question is irrelevant? Because I.
No. I want to direct us. The MM will answer you, but I want the floor to be directed to the actual item. If any comments is outside of the item, I will not allow.
You can make my assessment is that the spending on capital grant funding is because the item speaks about how far we in terms of procurement spending. So Victor can respond the assurance that the councillor want in terms of spending.
Wait, let me, if Councillor Kamkam has been on the floor a long time.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. Yes, you are quite correct. I have been present. Speaker, the concerns of Councilman Ravani is contained in the section 52, the report, which includes the projects. It includes the column that gives us the expenditure on the grant. I'm just saying. I've noticed the questions of and the things that Councillor Mitchell has also raised. Look, the report is for noting if there's any suspicion from any councillor, we do have impact. We do have any councillor can request on investigational matters that they are not comfortable with. So if there's any matters contained in this report that councillors feel they're not comfortable with, they can ask for investigation on those matters. I, Speaker, would propose that we go with the recommendations. Thank you.
Councillors, can I have a ruling on this item? Councillor Kamkam has proposed.
Yeah.
Okay, I will do it on Facebook.
Blended, I will never win. Never win.
Second.
Next item. I am telling you now,
You are only 1 day older than Councillor Michelle.
Now you go in. Just see now, but it's fine. Tease me as much as you want to. That's fine. Next item, I will give to MM Nana.
Things are coming home.
I think this is term that we asking council to consider take a decision. You will see on the presentation of client, for example, and we just selected a few examples. In fact, we've selected just minimum. There's quite a lot. 3 issues. One, a property is zoned as a vacant stand, and we are building a vacant stand. However, there is a house that has been built, and that house was completed in 2022 or whatever the case. So it means we have not built that either for 3 years or for 5 years, whatever. My favorite one is the ultra liquor. Also, It's vacant. But you pass, you also see it. It's not vacant, you know. So what we are asking council here is that the policy allows for this council in terms of the policy. On property rates, it's legislated. Nothing you can change. But on service charges, the policy says 3 years. Now, where the deliberation on this thing, myself and the CFO, and we brought it to the attention of the mayor and this mayoral committee, we say council have to consider this thing and make a decision. Our recommendations, which we have put forward, was that a difficult year. You have one business whom suddenly is going to receive, if you look at one example there, I know it's open meeting, public meeting, one center that is charged for one toilet for sanitation, So you've got the situation where that account of that business jumped from 1,100 for sanitation to about 579 or 580 for sanitation in a month. Then you multiply that 500,000 by over 3 years of that process. So we want to treat this thing very, very carefully. And I'm appealing also, to people on social media and also to the press to be very considerate when they write this, because after this meeting, we'll have to inform those people in writing, giving them their right, and then they must reply that this is a decision that council have taken. However, the difficulty here is, and I've dealt with this thing, and I know how it became a problem for me. I have practical experience in this thing in mind. When we table this, we say that we must backdate. It created a problem. So I need you to take an informed decision that you're going to discuss. If you go on the route of saying you're going 3 years, you will have some of these businesses that will definitely challenge the municipality, because whose fault is it? Now, if you look at the policy, there's a quid pro responsibility. The person that is receiving the service is supposed to pay for services without being reminded. But now the person that is charging the services has got the responsibility to ensure that that billing is correct. What we are dealing with here now is the person, which is us as a municipality. We have sent an incorrect billing. We use that example of the center. We send them a billing of saying you're supposed to pay 1,200 for sanitation instead of 579,000. So do we want to go to a situation where this matter is dragged over court processes with the possibility of losing? Because I can tell you now, the municipality failed to bill correctly. On the issue of the house that is vacant, the municipality failed to recognize that the house is no longer vacant now. Again, in the strategic session, we talk about issues of silos. I build a house, I submit my building plans and town planning, they get approved. The house gets finished. After it's finished, building control issue what you call occupation certificate. But now that information is not sent through to finance to tell them that the house is completed now. Change your building from vacant stand to a residential. Or Councillor Mhlana changes his house from a house and do a B&B. Apply to town planning to say that I'm converting because I want to do B&B. That information is not filtered to finance to change the status, because the rate that you charge for a residential and the rate that you charge for B&B is different. The rate for B&B is a business is actually higher. So that is the challenge. And I don't want now to get into details in terms of why the program really failed up, especially when Councillor Kolapi was asking, but added to the fact that people who were driving this, because remember, even now, these positions in the structure, we are saying they must be frozen, they must not be budgeted, because we are using a consultant to do that work. Once PwC is out, I think they are appointed for 2 years. Now, not 3 years like the previous one. We intend to have this work done by our municipal officials. They must understand when they pass by, do this assessment. So the proposal is that, which is at the discretion of this council, that you don't go for 3 years because it's going to be a challenging. But that because I know when I proposed 3 years in NISA what happened to me, but on the basis that you have to take the information and the facts in front of you, that the municipality in its role also failed, But again, the responsibility of the person to pay also, So you would see even on the other ones, refuse bin, they are charging for one refuse bin, but you will see how many refuse bins are actually standing there in front of that business. We're supposed to be charging for 10 refuse bins. The worst part, Melanie, is that we are collecting not once a week. We are collecting 5 times a week, we have learned. And we're always under the impression that we are collecting 3 times a week. We are collecting actually 5 times a week. So we're supposed to charge, let's say it's 900 for refuse bin, it's 900 times 10 times 5, but we are charging 900 once. So we are losing a lot of revenue. So go to the body of the item. I think it explains what I've actually said as the recommendation for councillor to first deliberate on the matter, on the motivation. Then in terms of the approved tariff policy, the municipality may, upon discovery of incorrect billing, rectify accounts after having informed customers. Very important, after having informed customers about such correction, retrospectively for a period of 3 years. Now, if you go to the recommendation, that's what the policy is saying. But I'm saying you have to discuss this matter in terms of what the policy is saying, and also the failure of the municipality to actually do what they were supposed to be doing. Sorry, in terms of the failure of us as administration, because now I must separate and not say the municipality include the public and the councillors. The failure of us as administration to do what we're supposed to be doing. So that's what I'm going to stop there in terms of this. I think there is recommendations. Is it not recommendations of mayor? Yeah. Okay.
Let me open the item. Item C, stroke 2, stroke 156, stroke 10, stroke 23. The retrospective billing for incorrectly billed customers identified during the revenue enhancement program. The item is now serving. Councillor Kolwapi, Councillor Kamkam, Councillor Manlaba.
Part-time speaker. It was the first question I wanted to know that as we are now we're appointed to pick up the seat to so think of enhancing our billing or our revenue. Maybe is it a privilege information if we can know how are they being paid? Is it a once of kind of an amount that they put in front of us, or are they billing per the discovery or per the collection that is happening? And if, for instance, we can go back a year, how are we sure that the money that we're gonna recover will be able to pay for the same private company that is doing this for us? Are we sure? Are we moving in the right track if we only backdate a year? I don't want even to consider the one of 6 months. Let's say if we backdate for a year, will it recover the money that makes us now to appoint a company to help us so that we can recover? Are we really recovering? And why are we not more balancing? I know times are tough because these things been doing that a long time ago. I didn't manager, Mr. Started. Mr. Started. He indicated this immediately. It's one of the things that he picked up immediately, that businesses here are not being charged. Some of them, they are not even paying rates. It was something that he alarmed us by saying that, I think it was on MPEG, where he even said that there's so much that is unfair when it comes to poor people versus rich people. Now we are here, something we can't even account when, let's say 2017 or 2018, people were free. 2017, 2018 up to now. Why should you not go to 24 months at least? And maybe we'll be shocked to know that there was a syndicate of people knowing that they know exactly, maybe they went and go and collect. The rating will be like this. They knew maybe they were collecting from those businesses when it comes. I'm just saying it could be there was something like that. So now my point is, how about let's not go to 24 months instead? Not even 12, not even 6. Go back to 24 months because we've got a company that we have appointed here that we need to pay for doing this work of picking up all these things. But these things were supposed to be done by the officials that were paying them salaries.
Yeah, let me first take another two. Councillor Manlaba.
Thank you, Speaker.
And Councillor Kamkam.
In as much as I understand that that Speaker has had on, and it would make sense for her to actually probe and actually try to actually see if we can't really recover the funds. Let's just I would rather we don't deviate from the item. The item is speaking on retrospective billing. For starters, the preamble is that we are owning the fault that was actually done by the municipality. That's the preface of it all. Now, secondly, how do we then recover? Because there's a legislation that actually supports us in recovering the funds. Now, we already have a bargaining tool here. I know there's going to be a kickback, but now if we use exactly the legislation as well as the recommendations as a means of negotiating with the spaces that have been underbuilt, so that because if we use it as a negotiating tool, that's when we get a buy-in from the spaces to actually help us rectify that. Because I can tell you now, if we push it as per the legislation and we expect to actually recover the billing of 3 years, we will end in court and we will be tainted on social media as well as the other media. At this point, what we are hoping to achieve is that which has been lost can somewhat be recovered. If you look at the recommendation number 1, the council approves the correction of service charges will be retrospective corrected for up to a period of the current financial year plus 6 months. I mean, if I am a business owner who was meant to be paying back over 3 years that I've already missed, this as a negotiation tool I would actually take. I know there's gonna be if kickbacks and fights about it, but another thing we need to also applaud ourselves as this council. And we came up with an amendment on the indigent benefits that benefited our people. However, in benefiting our people, it meant it affected our revenue as a municipality. How can we ensure now that which is actually a benefit can be worked back through this by ensuring that the necessary information is shared with the relevant parties, and then this recommendation can actually be used as a negotiation tool to ensure that we recover. Because at the end of the day, if we were to follow legislation, they would be paying twice as much. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Kamkam, then the email will respond.
Thank you, Speaker. I support the recommendations by the Executive Mayor for exactly the same points raised by Councillor Manaba. I mean, we all know what legislation allows, but we also need to be realistic in terms of, especially how this book at the moment, as we all know how it looks like. But as Councilman Ngaba also said, I mean, we have gone through extra length to actually accommodate residents in Plettenberg Bay by looking at our indigent policy, by looking at sliding scales. And now that we're in this revenue enhancement, I mean, this fold was picked up. And even going further to say, instead of, going by 3 months, we are going by 6 months. So for me, as those recommendations stand, I fully support it.
The council. You put it all together. Yeah. Executive Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. I think what's more important, I mean, yes, we need to recover some of the money that's been incorrectly charged, but is to get the people that have been incorrectly billed into our billing system going forward. And I think that's the more important part of this exercise, that we identify who has been incorrectly billed, who hasn't been billed, get them into the system so that at least going forward, they are paying what they need to pay. We're recovering the expenses that it costs us to provide the services, but also try and recover some of the funding. But then again, as Emma was saying in the explanation, do we penalize people for errors on our side? And how do we do it? And what is a more fair system? So the way that this is worded is that from when we discover the error, so the error might be discovered in one person today, and the next person we only discover in 2 months' time. Then from whenever we discover the error, we backdate it 6 months. So it then covers us for people in the next year maybe, or even the after, that 6 months stands. There's a fixed term. It's not from a particular date, but it's from when we discover the error. And we can at least recover 6 months with the money. So I think that's just to understand that we want to get these people into the net, as to say, and to get the correct revenue going forward. So I will second the recommendation.
Thanks, Pete. I think there's no question that I'm just what the councillors have spoken later. Councillor Kolapi, the question maybe is that are we impacted in terms of the appointment of PwC? Not really. Because PwC, the way we've done this contract is structured in a way that we want to know upfront what is the fixed cost that you're going to charge us. So they've got people that are appointed here. So whether they don't discover anything, they need to go and check. So that's a fixed cost. Then you've got a component which is variable cost. The variable cost says whatever amount you discover, then you're going to take a certain percentage of that. That's how the contract is structured. Now, if you recall, when we table this is part of the financial recovery. When we table to council, I then indicated that the CFO must first go and source money because we wanted to make sure that we cover the component of the fixed cost. We've got, I was trying to check if Christopher Pale is online, but are still suffering from the Saturday game because so we've got money that we have received, which we have applied for the grant funding from provincial government, which has been approved for this program. I think it's 500,000 per annum for the next 3 years. What PwC does now, anything, they take the difference on that. We first spend on that, and then there's a difference that is left. Then we give them, and then they take a certain percentage on what they actually discovered. So they also now need to understand what they should invoice us. Should they invoice us on what they have discovered here now, which is the amount for 3 years, or is the amount only for 6 months, But last point for me, and that's why I was saying council needs to deliberate on that. If you look at, just making an example, a 5% salary increase on the salary of the compared to a 5% increase on the salary of Nochokov, it's a big difference. So this thing, we have to look at it very, very carefully, because if we were to say 12 months or even 3 years, and we discover somebody in one area that has not been connected for services at all, that 3 years is a lot of money. So this is not only in business, but the focus now, why we started with business, is because we want to do what you call quick wins to turn around the situation of the municipality. So we'll be coming, you will see the other example. When we go to New Horizon, you know, you will find things that the person has not been connected or charged water for the last 4 years. So what do you do now with this account, this huge account cost for that person? So that amount versus somebody who's got a business in town, you know, it's always a different issue because it's an increase from two different sources of income. One is higher than the other one, you know. So if council resolution is read there, then we will then communicate and inform these people starting this week. We'll first write letters to them, client, they are assisting with that. The key issue here is PwC must hand over this work to be done internally. It was done, people were trained, so we need to train people, unfortunately, again, to take over. But we then need to nurture those people to remain in the organization in terms of the personal development plan, so that we don't, what I call, wait for Felix to come back again to tell us of the situation. Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, MM. Next item. Item C, stroke 2, stroke 159, stroke 10, stroke 23. The determination of date of evaluation for the 25th, 2029 general evaluation round. Item on page 143. Item now serving. Amen.
Speaker, I think we've already explained this one as well, that we've missed the bus. Because the evaluation that was done prior, just about COVID. And subsequent to that, we have seen articles in the newspaper in terms of high prices that are actually here in terms of houses in Plettenberg. And unfortunately, we missed an opportunity again here at rate services with the Gloria Seco living. Then you have the situation where nobody writes to the valuer to tell them that we are objecting in terms of this valuation that you came up with. We think this property is worth 4 million, not 1 million, you know. So we've missed that boat. So we want to start this process afresh so that we do a proper new valuation. In that proper valuation, it means you value everyone correctly, the revenue increase, then you don't have to increase tariffs too high. Because this error caused that you actually try and match that revenue by just increasing tariffs. But if you put everyone in the net and they pay correctly, you will find out there's revenue that you are making there without necessarily having to increase tariffs very high, you know. So I just wanted to explain that on this item.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Wolfield, Councillor Manlaba.
Let's go with the recommendation by the executive.
Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Before supporting the recommendations, I just need clarity on this. As you would know that as from next year, we there's an embargo that we are actually taking on, which is to have a same door-to-door where people are actually identifying what type of building it is and what it's meant for and all of that. This was purely a plan that came about to actually, obviously, to help in revenue enhancement, but obviously to classify building as such. Because we know with time, this blanket approach of treating a community as just a space of indigent people, it comes back to hamper us where revenue is concerned, because now we know exactly there's actually houses that are converted into 9-7 flats that are actually still pulling through on our applications of indigent applications. And my thing is, obviously, with the note that was actually made by the acting CFO that our indigent list is now bloated, we would sit with a situation where people who are meant to be benefiting of such a benefit would actually fall out because we've reached our threshold. Now, question is just that given the fact that obviously this will be done at policy review, which would potentially happen January or February. Now, if that is a plan we have, and then there's actually valuation that will be done on the 1st of July. Won't it be a futile exercise, or won't we now effect a change in people's tariff twice as much?
Speaker, through you, not really. These two processes are going to assist exactly on that. The revenue enhancement project being done by PwC will tell us that this house, I'm going to use this house in Konakutula is an RDP house, and in terms of our system, the person that is staying there is applied and is receiving indigent. However, the house is actually being used as a rented flat. So then we change it from residential to business towards a business activity that is happening. But then we also inform the valuer to say change the valuation, because the valuation cannot be the same. It's no longer an RTP house, but it's an extended flats that are actually done. So my anticipation is that that process will only kick in the next valuation. So there's nothing we can do. I was saying to Mr. Namdu that there's nothing that can be done now. That sub-economic area will remain with this valuation. The new valuation will then determine that. But we need public participation, because what's that to change now? Imagine the municipal employees, the managers, just take the managers of the municipality staying in one, because then they start to change. They were not paying probably for rates. It was a sub-economic area, but now they have to pay for rates, So it will kick in only once. It's not, I don't think it's going to be next year. It must be done maybe.
Now, Speaker, with that being said and on record, I support the recommendations.
Thank you, Councillor Mangaba. Next item. Item C, stroke 2, stroke 161, stroke 10, stroke 23, the request for correction of same A account to correlate with the SLA and addendum thereto with subsequent write-off. Item is on page 145. Item is now serving.
System handling.
Follow-up is adjourned.
Yes.
Thank you.
As much that I didn't get much time to read this one, Speaker, but I wanted to know the hangers. And the hangers, where are they paying? Are they paying to send it, or are they paying straight to the municipality? How many hangers do we have there?
Director?
32. Oh.
To answer the first part of the question, the hangers are not paid to Senate. It's paid to the municipality in terms of lease agreements entered. Municipality, it's of the amount of the latest register that we have. It is approximately 42 agreements that we have on our list for hangers. The figures might not be correct, but this is the reconciliations that we receive from finance. The payments to the hangers varies per lease agreement entered into. From 520 to 497. I'm just reading from the documentation submitted to us from finance. 565 rand. So there is a different range of amounts that they are paying, which are actually only levies. Looks as if it's levies or based on a rate per square meter.
So it's going to be a day or per month.
The rate per square meter per month.
522 or 500.
It differs.
565.
Okay. Through you, I don't know, wanted to check, Chris, are you comfortable? Because if you're not comfortable, you can log in and then be at your office. Now you want to attend. I can see you've got some discomfort. If you don't mind, speak out that. Please then to log in the office.
The airport is under which directorate?
Also, Pendle.
Oh, appendix subsidiary. Oh.
Discomfort is not feeling well.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Kolwap is still on the floor.
Yes, I wanted to know where the hangers are paying. So I've heard they are paying here at the municipality for the amount of 525 the square meters. But they are in a grace and luxury of paying for 500 and some odd per month with the luxury activities like that. Okay. And if then we rent out to some air, the airport, are we also including the hangars or they are a separate entity alone from the entire airport?
The mayor must answer.
It's your call on that, Councillor Kolwafi. Amen.
Answer that.
I'm still going to the account, Kaloko. Because when we're, I'm still there.
Well, thank you, Speaker. It looks like talking, but I'll make note of.
So that's what I'm saying. For this account, when we rectify it, we should not. My mind was like, I wish we can know everything that needs to be rectified. As today, we know that there were some accounts that were not correlating and all that, and it didn't come up front and be able to come and reconcile everything. But I always have these questions when it comes to hangers and also coming, how much are they paying? When we speak about that whole ground of the airport with the hangers scale of knowing that, it was all those things. So I would love to get those just inquisitive questions.
Thank you, Councillor Kolwafi. Amen.
Apologies for that. I disturbed you by saying can't wait. So I was trying to listen here. So, Speaker, the issue of the hangars, the intention is that the tenders did close last week. Just don't know whether any one of them are asking for 30 or more years. But remember, council resolution is that 30 years. If it's more than 30 years, we have to come back. But I can safely say that 5 bidders have submitted. One saying it's called an open information. One saying that looks like they will put an investment of 150 million. I think 2 of them. Other 116 million. There is investment of over 240, 250 million. So that must still be evaluated. What will happen then? The successful bidder will be responsible also for taking over the rentals of the hangars. Hangars rent, and then we then get our money. So I don't know what is the proposal saying, how much rental that they want to give us to the municipal. Remember, because the tender is asking for the development of the airport and for us to lease that land, So that item might be an item that comes as a special item before the year close once it's evaluated and corrected. So that is, they are part of that. This is an amount that has been reconciled by the CFO, so we cannot go beyond any other amount. So Councillor Kolwafi, even if you are uncomfortable about the amount that they are paying, that is what it is now until those contracts ends, and then once they end, then a new determination is actually made in terms of that.
Thanks for the Councillor Tsapai.
Yes, you see, we have a problem in this town. And I view this town as an unequal town. It's a fact. And for that matter, if you cross the bridge, there's only one bridge. Following New Horizon, going to Kanoktula. Unfortunately, they don't have a bridge down there. Kelland and Kansuk. All the issues I was hearing here, we had an issue about accommodation fees. It started here in town. And the leading coalition pushed it because it is in town. It's so unfortunate that augmentation fees again, it was a matter in Kwanuktula Boxer. There was no other way because we were already in. We had to say also Boxer must do it because it was done.
What's good for Paul is good for all.
You see? Again, we want to correct things. This item, Musime has been coming here that they must not pay. They have done this and that in the airport and so on. And it very nicely without hesitation. There are inequalities that are happening. And I'm happy that we have taken a sober decision because there is specifically a department that is making these mistakes every now and then. It's planning and it's so unfortunate. Again, we don't know our properties as this council. There are houses hidden here, that land that belongs to the municipality, we don't know about it. An official can ask about this property at the back. Is it our property? We don't know. What I remember there.